Yeah, here we go. And now we're starting. This is a little bit of a different map. This actually isn't played too much these days in Oz Fortress or in any Australian Sixes leagues. So this is actually something that a lot of teams aren't going to be super comfortable on, to be honest.
Yeah, and you know, it's got a very interesting mid, which we are seeing come into action here. The map has begun. We see a big old bomb from Stigma, not a joke, getting in onto the mid. He gets quite a lot of damage onto Shy, but not quite enough. We do see the frags coming back the other way. That's 4 players down in very quick succession, and there's not much to say. We see the last scout go down. I believe someone told me it was an actual name, but I've forgotten what his actual name. I think it's Rias. Rias went down right on the tail end there, and that's the end of that mid.
Zeus.
Zeus?
Is Riku.
Zeus or Rias?
Zeus.
Zeus, with the Z.
With the Z.
Alright. You betcha.
Alright, and the Uber has come out from, what's this team called again? Hell, right, yes. As they have failed push into the last of MyAnimeList. The counter Uber coming out is actually going to clean up time, and they're going to keep trying to push this further on, trying to get the second, and trying to get mid off this as well.
Yeah, but there's 2 soldiers below the point at second here. Monty and the other one are there. Monty actually goes down very quickly. The other one cleans up Zeus on the way out, but does actually manage to get out. And with this Demo Man spawning here, I think they're going to be able to defend the midpoint, especially with around about a 20% over advantage. They do have a soldier still behind, causing some mayhem though.
Yes, this one is looking pretty good for Hell here. They've got a pretty good hold over things. And yes, there we go. The 2-player kills right there by a very nice sandwich kills the medic, giving them not just a 20% ad, but now a 66% advantage, which is going to be pretty crushing now that they're going to basically take second for free and going to have full Uber ad to push last.
Yeah, to be honest, by the time that Tal spawns with Vivi here, I think it's going to be around about a 90% ad, which, yep, you might as well call that a full ad. But they're pushing straight on through. They're on the catwalk thing there, the bridge, and they're able to get all the way in very, very deep. The Uber is just now fading. They have good control of the point, but the Mal fellas are there to try and stop. They are going down one by one, and it's not looking great for them. The Demo Man going down as well, and that's going to be it. First round is going the way of Hell.
Despite what I suspect to be intentional trolling from the Hell medic, keeping the scout Ubered up so that he could not cap the point. They did manage to clean that up in the end after getting a lot of frags and pagging the stats quite a bit, and we now go into the second mid-fight.
Yeah, and coming into this mid-fight, I'm wondering if we might see the Mal guys play a little bit more aggressively, because they were playing very passive. But so far, no such luck. We do see Zeus up on that crate, taking a duel with 3 players and going down for his effort. He did clean up Luna, though, which is a good pickup. Stigma goes in for a jump and goes down. It is no worries at all, though. His team is there, cleaned up the other soldier. And that is that for that mid. It looks like Mal are able to take that.
Yeah, that was pretty clean from Mal there. Not quite clinical, but they did get what they wanted for. Getting in aggressive players to force off Hell out of the second point, despite the even Uber situation, is going to allow them to not just cap the second point. Whoa, actually, they haven't even capped mid yet. They're getting super aggressive here when they haven't even captured the middle point, even Ubers, but they have managed to secure the second point so that once they do capture mid, they will be able to cap second.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that they still hadn't captured the mid. But they've just captured the mid, capturing the second. This is going to be a bit of a stalemate, and this last is kind of a hard one to push when you haven't got any off classes to really play with, but it's also a hard one to defend when you haven't got any off classes to play with. So we'll just have to see how they really want to play this one, hey?
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be something that's going to be pretty interesting. We haven't seen Metal Rocks so far in the rotation. Every new map we see is a new example of how these teams are handling the new sort of restrictions, not being allowed to play those classes. And this one's no different. Even Ubers again, Mal has had aggression work out pretty well for them so far. Let's see if they continue that.
Yeah, and they've started off with Stigma jumping in very, very deep. He gets the force out. It's a 2-player sack, Joel and Stigma getting in there, and they're able to get the force, but we'll have to see if it's going to come out of Tal as well. It looks like Tal is playing very, very safe super worried about getting forced here. He does end up having to use. He's on 4 health points. He gets straight on through with his scout. Vivi getting in very, very deep, but it's not looking like they're going to be able to get very much. The Uber fades right as they come into the last. They lose Vivi and Bitvolt and their mid. Stigma goes down, and it's just Joel. It is just Jolson hiding in that lower area. He hasn't been seen, so we'll have to see if he's able to collect the med. He jumps on in, into 4 players, 5 players, 6 players, and just dies, like, instantly.
Solid fundamentals from Hell, managing to defend that point quite handily from that bomb, and their recollapse after the 2-player Uber sack, and just allowing them to take this forward with Uber advantage to take this midpoint.
Yeah, definitely exactly what they want to see. They've got this huge Uber ad, and I think it's going to force the Mal players out almost immediately before they can really do anything. Stigma goes in for another sack. Doesn't quite collect Shy, but Zias comes in and deletes her. Shy drops the Uber, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to harp on it too much because it's a, it's a hurtful moment for her, but sucked in,
Yes, very unfortunate. I mean, Zeus is on the prowl, and that's going to completely blunt their push. Now an Uber advantage for the side of Mal is going to allow them to start maneuvering this further into their favour. We'll see if they continue with a sort of high aggression for this Uber, or if they want to just play it more fundamentally and methodically take over this midpoint.
They seem to be taking it through the alleyway, straight through the valley into the mid. Tal takes a little bit of damage on the way in, and with both soldiers jumping onto him, he does end up having to force. They clean up one of those soldiers though, and now they've got a 3-player ad that they can leapfrog forward. They are going to have to cap this middle point though, and it looks like they're slowing down to try to cap it and stop the forward spawns from happening. They do have a few players in there. Stigma and Vivi are in very, very deep, and Bitvolt cleans up Luna right on the tail end of that one as he spawns in the forward spawn. And we also saw time go down. So, with no Demo Man on the side of Hell, it's looking pretty good for MyAnimeList, but Uber disabled.
We're pretty down to the wire there, but they have shown to be willing to use this player advantage, and they have, getting Shy down, now giving themselves the Uber advantage. But they are looking like they don't want to wait for this Uber, they do want to sort of take this a little bit forward, and maybe try to get space to cap this point on last.
And they're very keen to dry fight this, and Luna is on 7 health. He has gotten 3 kills while he's on 7 health, though. 2, sorry. It looks like Flair picked off that last one there. Good lord, that was such a good defense out of Hell, having lost their meds so early.
Yeah, 2 kills from Luna, 3 kills from Flair. The scouts just doing a lot of work, cleaning up the entire team. These guys are constantly shown able to sort of turn these situations around. Just really, really fundamental, solid holds here. Of course, I have to praise the game sense, considering that 3 of the players on Hell have played on teams with me in the past, so obviously a little bit of my brilliance has rubbed off on them.
I wouldn't say that much, but we do see Tal coming through with a big old override, using it onto his Demo Man Bitvolt, who jumps forward and gets minced, which is going to cause that Uber to be a bit of an abortive attempt. Tal going down as well, just eating damage and dying almost immediately. We do see Stigma coming on in and deleting Shy though. So it's 3 players versus 2 players. It looks like Zias is there taking a fight on the second point. Cleans up time, which is a good pickup, but Stigma's there as well. They're both down very, very low. Stigma does die, so it's just Zias here. He's on not very much health. He's on not very much at all, but he's still fighting.
Yeah, makes the decision to pull out, regroup with his medic, and now come back in. They are looking to try to fight this though. Pretty dry. They have been playing super aggressively so far, but has been working for them. Not too well this time though, as they do lose 2 players, including the Demo Man, which is going to set them up for losing this mid-fight if Hell decides to push this aggressively. Yeah,
and I think it'll be a cold day in Hell before they don't push this one, and they're straight on into the middle point. I know, it was a reach, wasn't it? They're straight on into the middle point, pushing them out, and it's a free middle point for them. I'm going to stop talking so I don't say anything ever again.
Unlike Snazzy's large reaches, seems like nothing is outside of Hell's reach, as they has managed to pick up that midpoint, and they want to take this momentum forward, picking up Jolson and going for now receiving an Uber exchange in lobby.
Yeah, it looks like MyAnimeList managed to get their Uber much, much earlier than Hell did. But Hell now on 90%. This is a huge advantage for them. Monty's in behind, and they have the other soldier on the second point, trying to get onto Tal, getting quite a lot of damage, but meeting the Demo Man in the form of Bitvolt there, and dying for his efforts. Tal ends up going down. The Uber gets forced, and they lose Flare right in the middle of that Uber. A very poor problem for them to have, but they're going to be able to take the second, and it's all good, you know, it's all good.
Yeah, as you say, she'll be right, and it sure is right for them, as they do have Uber advantage again, now for pushing them to last. They did not decide to sack it all on the player advantage, more happy to sit back, grind the Uber out on the scout, see if they can get up for their last push. But if this goes well for them, if they succeed in this last push, which, I mean, we have no reason to believe they won't, then that could be another round on the board for them.
Absolutely. And they're just building up this Uber out here. I think... Oh, how would you take it? Would you take it like in through the deep left or something? Because there's no sentry or anything to block you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many new ways to push. There's no sniper sight lines you have to worry about. You can just push this straight through one of the soldiers. Mainly I try to avoid anywhere you see sticky bombs, because that's just going to force you to use early, and this point is pretty long.
Yeah, but they do come through that far right side, using straight on through. They lose 2 of their players right at the start of the push. 3 players down now on the side of Hell, and they're going to have to back right on out. This is looking like a bad Hades run. They've just been minced. And Shy going down as well. It's basically going to be a Monty, the only one here. He's fighting on that second point. He goes down. Those 2 players have spawns, so technically it's not a wipe.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that's not a wipe. Yeah, unfortunately for them, choosing the far right side doesn't really work without Rocky on your team, so they're just unfortunately forced to use pretty early and allowing the enemy team to kite it behind their own point. And, you know, that's one of your problems. If you're using badly in these situations, then the enemy team can just sit around outside of range of your Uber charge. And now that they've managed to push it back all the way to mid, they're now looking to push second with Uber advantage and a player advantage.
And they've come through this lower area, which is usually a very dangerous option, but in this case they've cleaned up Monty very, very early. A lot of stickies on the point, but they get dead. They have been starting that cap, but Vivi and Tal are in very, very deep. The Uber gets used. They've come through on the bridge. The scout in the form of Luna catches an arrow and manages to survive despite having a lot of players thrown at him. We see Time coming through, getting a big old pipe onto Tal, and that's going to turn it around in the way of Hell.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I'm in purgatory, mate.
You know, this isn't purgatory, this is hell. And they have shown another brilliant defense and a full wipe. And now it's just leapfrogging again. We're seeing some coast-to-coast gameplay here, as things are just going from one last to the other. Maybe eventually we might see one of the teams win a last push.
Absolutely. That would be lovely to see. There is still 1 round up on the side. Hell here. And they're slowly running this timer down, but as they push into the middle here with the Uber ad, they are very keen to take this. The Uber comes out onto Flare. I believe one of their soldiers got a flash there. They've cleaned up the Demo Man and one of the scouts, but they lose 2 for it. They do end up getting the other soldier, Jolson, going down. Stigma's in to try and delay the point, but he goes down. One of the scouts comes in. Zias in there trying to clean up Shy, not quite able to convert it into a frag, and Tal gets out.
Losing 2 players for 5 is generally pretty good, but unfortunately they did not manage to get the mid here, which is going to be looking pretty disastrous for them, because now Mal will have Uber advantage. Although the Uber advantage is very slim, and good building on the side of Hell could equalize this really quickly.
I was trying to come up with something smart about buildings and Hell, but I couldn't figure it out.
Don't try too hard, Snazzy, you'll hurt yourself.
I hurt myself often. Whenever I try to think, man, it just like, I fizzle out so quick. We do see that the Uber has come straight on through from Mal here. They're in very, very deep. Tal gets deep, but the Uber has come back from the side of Hell. Hell are here to show them what...
Don't try
I
too
don't
hard,
know, I'm
Snazzy.
doing it again. Stigma though, with the fat midi to clean up Shy. Just a very quick 2-piece to just delete her on the spot. Stigma, also known as Sunbear, I believe, on the stream, I should actually say.
Right, well, Stigma's funny to say, because the stream keeps expecting a dirty joke, which is not going to happen, by the way.
It's not a joke.
But so far, it's not a joke. His name is Stigma, or Sunbear, depending. But yeah, so far, given he's tagged up as Stigma, we're willing to believe his in-game alias so far. And yeah, he's realised the best way to kill the medic was by standing absolutely still and blending in with the scenery.
Sorry.
Well, he stood completely still on top of the blue crate, waited for the medic to walk by him, and then just shot him.
He's got that camouflage, dude. He's got the active camo. This dude's playing Halo. We do see the Mal guys coming forward. There is a trap above them. They have seen it. It does get cleared. And they are walking straight on forward. We do actually see one of the soldiers is behind, but he gets cleaned up. No real effort expended. And I think they're going to be able to cap the second here. I think it'll probably be an even Uber reset. But there are still a couple players down on the side of Hell, which could mean that Mal could take this straight on through.
Did you say Hell or Mal?
I don't know.
Right. Okay, regardless, even Uber charges on this midpoint. Uber has been forced out roughly equal times on both teams, so this is, if no team gets any significant advantage here, this looks like it might just completely fall back to a mid-fight.
Yeah, and Vivi cleans up Flare right on the tail end of that Uber. There's not much health on the side of Mal, but Bitvolt gets a fat pipe directly onto Luna, halfway across the mid. Well, from alley to, you know what I mean. Anyway, it's really good, and it's going to mean that with this huge player out, they're going to be able to push straight on into the second point. They're able to clean up... No, they're not quite able to clean up Flare in this instance. It was very close, but as they get their health back up here, they do have a tiny advantage, which if they build appropriately, they might be able to realize.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is, again, even Uber's here, but Mal has been constantly aggressive, very aggressive. I mean, I'm half expecting them to just wait for the Uber to come through and then just push anyway with it, hoping to get some kind of advantage out of it, especially because they do actually have very slight advantage and they might trick them into thinking they have a larger one.
Yeah, and the Uber has been used on both ends. It is not looking super clean for the Mal guys. Stigma and Jolson going down very early. They lose Vivi and Tal as well. It's all falling apart. We do see Bitvolt on the point. He gets quite a lot of time on it, but it wasn't quite enough to convert it to a round. And with that, it's another failed push.
There you go, more coast-to-coast gameplay. As with Mal failing the last push, things are starting to look not desperate, I'd say, but we're now down to 12 minutes, and there is still a point up for Hell. So if things keep going the way they are, with nothing really conclusive happening, they could just go by on the one-round advantage.
Yeah, they definitely could. Would you see Stigma doing a bit of a weird thing? He's sort of like hiding in the health pack. I think he's trying to wait for one of the soldiers or scouts to walk in there. Stigma's in there, and I don't think anyone's seen him. He's behind them now. And he gets in onto Monty. Nice enough. Not really achieving very much while the Uber comes straight on through. Shy using straight on in. They're able to elect one player, the Demo Man. And that's about it. I'm not even sure if they're going to be able to hold this point because they have lost their Demo Man as well. And we do see Tal coming back in with his Uber ready to go. He's chomping at the bit. Him and Vivi coming straight on through. They're able to get Luna. Yes, they're able to get Luna, and they've kept their Uber on this second point. They now have a huge ad that they can take straight into last.
Yeah, it's got to be looking really good for them. This is their best chance of equalising it up and giving them a serious chance of, making it through this alive, as they now have full Uber advantage, pushing to the last. This one can't possibly fail. Looks like they're going through the left side this time, or just centre.
They're coming straight on through, man. The trap juggles the Uber. Both of the players luckily flash at the time. They clean up Monty. No, they don't quite clean up Monty. On the tail end, as they come on through, Tal takes quite a lot of damage. They have cleaned up two soldiers, but the Uber comes out. Shy getting it right there and using almost immediately. This is looking poor for the Mal fellas.
Yeah, definitely. That's gotta really, really hurt. That was your best chance of getting another round you've seen in, 18 minutes of play, and now just all gone away. And that's one of the things with Metal Box Last. You need to get that Uber onto the enemy players very quickly. You can't afford to muck around chasing sort of flank players. Otherwise, they just have time to build up their own Uber and counterattack.
Yeah, and I mean, we're just seeing this leapfrogging back and forth. Neither team ending up with a really tangible advantage on the tail end of it. This is melting my brain, dude.
Absolutely. Get yourself a brain pan, collect all that stuff before it goes to waste.
There's not much there.
Unfortunate for you, Snazzy, but yeah, so far, slight Uber advantage for Hell, gonna even out. I mean, again, back to a situation that would typically be more of a stalemate in regular TF2, but with no off classes. These guys have been playing a lot more aggressively, and especially Mal have been no strangers to just dry pushing with even Ubers.
Yeah, and they do send Jolson in nice and early. He gets anti-aircraft, so does Stigma, who has everything thrown at him. There was demo men, there was soldiers, there was everything. But he got the fourth. He's Stugma. The Uber comes out of the Mal fellas. They come straight into that lobby area, clean up Monty nice and early. They haven't really secured any other frags with, which is not looking great for them, and they lose Vivi as well. This is looking very poor. Towel going down very, very low. Soldiers there, cleans up Towel, and does go down for his effort, but it's looking really, really good for Hell.
Yeah, now they have Uber advantage. If they do get this pretty quickly, which it looks like they're planning on doing, they can use this heal advantage to push into second and set themselves up for a full ad push onto last, which would be very nice for them. But instead, it looks like they're trying to play a little more fundamental, stop the medic from being killed or forced, which they have succeeded in doing despite two players sacking at them. And they're just going to look to build this Uber up and then push into second.
Stigma very, very nearly had that. He nearly took Shy out. Not to dinner, like to death. And we do see them coming through the alleyway directly onto the second point. There's nothing really to defend. And with this sort of Uber this ad, I think that's probably the play, is playing back and just like trying to build up as much as you can.
Absolutely. What you want to do here is build your Uber so that when they do push into your last, you do have an Uber to defend with. But these guys are going to look pretty aggressively in, as they are here. However, 90% on Tau, it really looks like he's going to be able to get this to defend, and he has.
Yeah, he has gotten the Uber, and they've managed to come back forward. They're able to push them out here, but it looks like Hell is still very keen to fight. They're down rather low, but they're able to reconnect here with their medic. They might be able to do something. Monty fighting the combo here. It looks like, oh, he does end up going down before he's able to kill anyone there. It does look like they're able to cap this second point, more or less for free. There is a soldier getting out to the lower area, but nothing to report. And that's another, like, 5 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Well, at least it hasn't been all centered around one point with snipers aiming down the scope at each other and literally no movement going on. It has been some absolutely coast-to-coast gameplay, lots of pushes, lots of frags, still seeing a lot of interesting TF2 here. But yeah, I mean, it's a stage where 7 minutes left, getting one round. This is something that's trivially easy, doesn't seem too much of an obstacle. But when you've spent 13 minutes just going back and forth, no one able to convert a last push, I mean, you got to get these guys getting a little bit frustrated at least.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we're not seeing the proper desperation like showing in the way that they're playing yet. But I mean, if you're on Mal here, I mean, you got to know, this has been an absurdly even game, and they need to make something happen before they start running time down. There's only 6 minutes, 6.5 roughly minutes left, and that's dangerous for them. They do see their Uber coming straight on through. They don't really flash anyone. It's a big old solo, but we do see the Hell Uber come back the other way, and it's looking bad for Mal. They are not looking likely to be able to catch anyone out here. They do have a couple soldiers onto Shy, but neither of them is able to convert it to a frag. All of the Hell players stay alive. 2 of the players on Mal are down. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, Luna currently on a 7 kill streak. I mean, this is looking pretty good for them. Not really too much of a play advantage there. Their health is really low. Players are pretty even. So I don't know if Hell's going to be able to convert this, onto a second push. However, I mean, at this stage, they got to be feeling the better mentally, out of the two teams. They are the team with the round up, so they don't really feel like they have to do too much here.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep playing the same way they've been playing so far, I think this is a shoe-in win for them. Just keep running the time down while they've got this one round up. We do see MyAnimeList, theirs, capping the point on the middle there, gaining those forward spawns, which might give them some opportunity here. Their demo man trying to catch up to them. He just got that spawn. Bit Volt. He's a star player. I actually I really like watching him play. He gets some stuff done. But both of the soldiers have jumped straight on through. They clean up one of the soldiers on the side of Hell. And the scout, Luna, is down on that lower area, caught. He gets cleaned up. And that is a 3-player ad as they push into last here. I think this might be the one. If they push immediately, right now, they'll be able to just walk in and get the cap. They have come on through, they get a lot of damage, but they lose both of their soldiers for no force. It's looking poor. They still haven't used their Uber though, so they've gotten that force out. They're going to be able to hold this second, maybe, and then they'll be able to use straight back in. They need to keep the Demo Man alive here. He manages to back all the way out, though this is looking okay. They use the Uber in the end on that second point, right as they get all their spawns, but those players won't be there to fight with them. But they have cleaned up too, including the Demo Man. They're getting some damage onto these scouts. They're trying, they're very darned, and I hope they manage something. But they are coming straight on through, getting quite a lot of damage. Luna coming back with a frag onto Zia. There's only one scout left on the side of Mal. They have to keep this scout alive if they want to be capping this here. Jolson on the point, getting quite a lot of damage onto Flare. Flare does survive it though, and we see Vivi go down. This is looking awful once again. Pitfall goes down. Tal's running for his life. I don't know if he's going to get away. My brain is melting, man. It's like I can feel it like dripping out my ears.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, this one is definitely a melter. Metalworks as well on the map is not the easiest on the eyes sometimes when you're trying to figure out exactly how things are going to play out. And for this one, how it's going to play out is yet again Hell taking second and having Uber advantage to push middle.
Yes, sir. It is just looking pretty gorgeous for Hell here. With the way things have been going so far, 3 minutes 30 left on the clock, it's looking beautiful for them. They still have the Uber here. There's been a few flares thrown at Shy, but she's held her nerve, she's held her cool, she's held her Uber.
Righto. I mean, at this stage now, for Hell, you're going to be feeling super relaxed. 3 minutes left on the clock, you have Uber advantage, player advantage. Very little is going to threaten you at this moment as long as you can keep them away from your last point. But they can't get too complacent here. 3 minutes is enough time for Mal to play super aggressively into them. So they need to make sure they keep their fundamentals down, don't take too many risks, and keep holding on to this.
Yeah, they end up getting the force out of Shy as she comes into second here. There is a couple of frags going around, but nothing really too groundbreaking. We do see the soldier coming behind, trying to clean up Tao. He goes down in the end to Jolson, but Bitfolt's kind of left high and dry. He's going to get caught out here, I think. He's fighting off the Demo Man, but Shy is right there. Bitfolt goes down. It's only Stigma and Tao. It's only Tao. Zias spawns. He's not going to get there. He does get there in time. Holy dooly, he ends up going down. But that's it. That's the second round to the way of Hell.
Absolutely brutal for Mal here. They do technically have enough time to get another 2 rounds, but how this is going with 18 minutes of very little action, I mean, the chance of them really pulling anything out of here is slim and looking slimmer.
Yeah, it is looking slim, but if they pull something out on this mid, I think they need to get a little more aggressive. Bitvolt trying to get a bit of damage off. He gets a little bit onto Luna, but nothing really to write home about, and then goes down immediately. One of the soldiers hitting a fat wall midi on him. Time goes down at the same time to Jolson, though. This is looking pretty good for Mal here. They've still got their mid. They've still got one of their scouts and a soldier. The soldier and the scout are able to clean up both of the scouts on the side of Hell. They're chasing for Shy. They're doing their absolute best to clean up Shy, who does go down on that second point. Tal and Vivi there on that second point, able to start this cap the moment middle gets capped. They just need to be careful.
Mal, Tal, and Mal Vivi sitting here waiting, like you said, but they didn't cap the mid, and there are soldiers and other players looking to poke at them, because Hell is not going to want to take this lying down. They're going to be happy leaving this at 2-0, but less happy taking it to 2-1. They want to delay this just as long as humanly possible, take as much time off the clock as they can.
Absolutely. And now that they finally... Sorry, I just thought about what my idea of Hell is. As they push this straight off through the left side, Cal and his Demo Man go down to a trap right there. That's going to be the death knell with 40 seconds remaining. Unless Joel pulls something wild and wacky out of a hat, which he didn't. I think that's going to be it. 30 seconds on the clock. I think we can call it. It'll be 2-0 to Hell.
GG's already going in the chat. The teams know what's up here, and yeah, more or less this is coming down to stat padding.
Someone's got to pad the stat. I thought about it again. Sorry.
You're gonna have to tell us what your vision of hell is.
It's Tullamarine Airport. We do actually see Mal are fighting on the last point here, and I think they might be able to get it. They're capping the second. Monty's here to defend, and the timer runs out. It was so close to being a 2-1. That was gorgeous.
Really close, but like they say, actually, there's a saying for this, but I can't quite remember what it is. So we're just gonna say that 2-0, 2 hell, pretty convincing win, massive stalemate in the middle. However, again, as we see in the no-off class cups, our stalemates might not include taking last, but they do include taking a lot of other points.
Absolutely. There was too much back and forth going on there, man.
Absolutely.
That was wild stuff. But we'll have a quick look at these logs, I think, and just see the lay of the land. We'll find out where the water is, and where the trees are, that sort of thing.
Well, you'll be looking at waters and trees. I'm going to be looking at damage and frags here. And what some damage and frags we have. Luna hitting 32 kills and 254 DPM here. Very impressive as Scout on his team, top killing on the server. And also I just have to plug that in for him because I told him rude things before the game started.
Very cool. And we do actually see his soldier, who I still haven't worked out exactly who it is, and Flair coming through underneath him with 29 and 28 frags respectively.